My lawnmower chewed through a couple of my smart lights, which pissed me off.
It looks like a butt plug.
You're ridiculous. Your mind is just in the gutter.
I had Gumby legs yesterday. I almost threw up at the gym. You won't catch me paying triple for DoorDash. Yeah. I will starve. You just called me fat, and yeah, you were like, yeehaw. And I'm like, you ain't getting on this cow.
The problem is you kind of sold out a long time ago. Like that was on you. I'm sorry, I might piss some people off, but I'm going to stop doing smart home videos.
I know what it takes to make you happy. Food.
That's not what I was thinking.
We have a lot of extra, which is why I would bitch at him about buying stuff for the smart home. I'm like, dude, you don't need to do that.
Is balance even possible?
I don't know. Life is just a shit show, and you just have to do the best you can.
Welcome to the Wife Approved Podcast. I'm Shane.
And I'm Caroline.
Let's go.
What are you going to do with that?
So this is
I already know what it is, but what are you going to do with it?
It'll just give me a summary. I'm kind of testing it out too for CES. So for those who are just listening, I'm wearing a AI pin that Caroline said looks stupid.
What did I say it really looks like?
You tell them, what did you say?
It looks like a butt plug.
You're ridiculous. Why is that the first thing that comes to mind when you see this?
It's either a butt plug or a suppository.
Good Lord. Your mind is just in the gutter. So I actually got one of these at IFA, and what it is it's an AI pen, and it can like hear conversations and stuff, and then analyze and all this kind of stuff, give you notes and things like that. And I was really excited. I used it for it's great for those like conferences because I always forget, there's so much information I forget like half of the stuff.
Yeah, you can't retain it.
Yeah, so I was like, this would be great for that, and then I lost it on the second day of using it. So I had one full day of notes and like summaries and stuff. It was great. And the second day, I actually had a whole day of stuff that was recorded, and then I lost it at the end of the day. And I was so pissed off. And so that's why I'm wearing it around my neck now, because it does magnetically attach to like a clip, and I had it clipped on my bag, but I lost it. So I got another one. I bought another one during Black Friday so that I can have it when I go to CES. And I'm just going to do a little testing it out now, and we'll see. Maybe I'll get some, good summaries of the podcast and show notes and stuff like that. But
how long did you spend looking for it at IFA?
Oh, so much time, because it supports Find My and the Find My app. So I was like right on top of it, and I know it was somewhere there.
It's probably in the trash can.
Probably. I don't know. I think it just came off of my, probably took my bag off, which it was clipped to, and then the magnetic, attachment failed me. That's why I'm wearing it around my neck. Mm-hmm. So if you see me at CES sporting this butt plug, as you say,
let me bedazzle it. Oh, will you let me bedazzle it?
Oh, Lord. Never a dull moment with you. I can't believe that's what you thought of.
Well,
I did ask your opinion, but I don't know. I just don't want to lose it again. So I got the little thing to wear around my neck. There is one that you can get for your bracelet. Like, I guess I could buy one of those.
Yeah, but that's kind of far away from your mouth.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how good it is, though. Like, it'll pick up everything you're saying and stuff, too. But, they've got one that looks kind of like an Apple Watch band that you could wear. But I don't know. I felt like that'd be a little much. Anyways, welcome back, everybody, to another episode. I hope y'all are having a good week. Things are kind of crazy over here as the holidays are getting ramped up.
It's so crazy. I'm so behind.
My lawnmower chewed through a couple of my smart lights, which pissed me off.
I know. I actually thought about it this morning when I was going to get coffee. You need to pull that mesh light off our bush. The mower chewed through like spotlights and our Govee curtain.
The net lights.
Sorry, not curtain.
Oh, I know.
And they're just like hanging for dear life on our bush. It looks like crap. This happened like at least a month ago.
It was not a month ago. It was not. You're dramatic.
When is the last time you cut the grass? It's December.
I know. I cut it one last time.
Before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but Thanksgiving wasn't a month ago. It was literally 2 weeks ago. It was probably the week of Thanksgiving, or right before Thanksgiving.
I'm going to go through our text messages.
2 weeks. So, yeah, that sucks. So I have a robot lawnmower, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let it cut one more time, for the season before we put it up. And I have this, it's a Govee like spotlight, floodlight kind of thing in the front yard that I just take it up during the summertime and everything, and I'll put it out like during the winter time because it does require you to plug it in. And, you know, when you're cutting grass, you can't be like running over wires and stuff. So I had it out already thinking I wasn't going to cut the grass anymore. And then I had every intention when I started the mower to go out there and pull it up and then totally forgot. And I saw the mower stuck out there and I was like, oh shit. And then I realized that I didn't think it would get to the net lights on the bushes. I don't know how that happened, but it got a hold of those too. So it ruined 2 of my Gobi lights out there, which I still am kind of pissed off about. So I think what I'm going to do, and I've been wanting to do this for a while, is like to do the, for like the front yard, just on the tree. Like I like the spotlight out there that I had, but you know, the wires are super pain in the butt. So like the best way to go is like low voltage that you can bury the wire. And so I'm going to do that, I think, and just put probably 1 spotlight. We might do some more. You
better remember where that stuff is buried, especially if we have like yard work done or something, you know, like any sort of like,
yeah, but low voltage is
well, what I'm saying is you don't want to cut the wire.
Yeah, sure.
So you need to remember where you run it, because if we ever have the yard aerated or something or whatever, a contractor comes through. Like
they might put a couple more spotlights on the bushes or whatever. But
I like that look.
Yeah, that's what I was really. I've been wanting to kind of do that for a while, you know, and then you don't have to deal with the wires and all that kind of stuff. So I think I'm going to go that route soon. But yeah, still kind of pissed.
I'm still shocked I haven't run that mower over yet.
Oh yeah.
Because it will, like, you know, you have it go across our driveway. And if I'm backing out, I mean, it's so low to the ground.
I usually try to tell you.
I wonder if my car would see it.
I usually try to tell you if I'm cutting the grass, like, and you're out or might be going back and forth, like, just watch for it, you know, because it does cross the driveway to get from one side to the other. Robot motors are awesome, but just make sure you don't have any wires running through the yard.
That one's been pretty tough, too, because Ace has just done a number on it.
I know, the dog's been chewing it up.
He loves hard plastic. Hard. Not all plastic, not rubber. He wants something that he can break his teeth on.
Damn dog destroys everything. Well, anyways, today, getting on topic here, we were going to do a kind of a overarching theme today, I think, just talking about balance. You know, is balance even possible? Just between marriage, parenting, work, health, just everyday chaos. I thought this would be kind of good coming off of last week's episode or last 2 episodes. We were talking a lot about like the YouTube stuff and just burnout in general, but like balance is something that
it's very hard.
It's, you know, it's something I think everybody deals with regardless of what you do for work or, you know, or what you got going on in life. I feel like it's something that I've always thought a lot about.
I feel like I do too. I feel like, and you know, no, this is no shot at men or you, but I feel like it's especially hard for moms, and like specifically moms, not women. I'd say moms. I shared something today, and it was just so true.
See, that's
balance.
It's just as hard for everybody as men as it is for women.
I disagree.
You know, it's just because you're doing, you know, you might do more stuff around the house, but guys are, you know, we're balancing. Like, how many guys, you know, have to struggle with working too much or working too many hours?
I know
and
that.
Trying to balance
I agree.
Family life.
I agree with that, but I think women have more to balance, especially women who work, who have a husband, who are moms. You know, the kids call us. We typically.
Why has always got to be a comparison to you?
Because it just is. I mean, I literally just saw that post today about, you know, that I shared on my Instagram, and it's talking about, you know, moms and like everything that comes with that. I think if you don't have kids and you compare between men and women, it might be like a closer, you know, even Steven. But I feel like when you're a mom, it just opens up a whole new, you know, door of responsibilities. Not to say that dads aren't responsible or there for their kids, but moms just do more for their kids, period. They run the house typically. Kids go to the mom, you know, it's a lot. It worded it really well. I should read it. It was a good post.
Where is it?
It says, what do you bring to the table? It says nothing. I bring nothing to the table. I have a career. I'm the planner, the appointment maker. I'm the holiday magic. I grocery shop. I meal plan. I clean. I do endless laundry. I keep track of everything and forget a lot. I give support and encouragement and life advice. I bandage wounds and dry tears. I cry, I worry, I guide, I protect, I cheer, I hold, I love. I am the damn table. And moms are like the foundation of, I feel like, the home, but for you, for the kids, it just kind of keeps everything together and moving like a machine. I'm not saying dads don't bring stuff. Y'all definitely have your role. But as far as balance, I feel like children for moms adds like, especially young kids, but even through the hard teenage years, I think it just brings like a whole nother layer of stuff for women.
Well, yeah.
And I would say there's a single dad, I think they would, say, oh,
Sure.
God, yeah, because then they realize how much a woman does.
Yeah. Well, that's just that's just life circumstances, if you're a mom or a dad or whatever of young kids, you got to balance that. But I've been thinking about balance, honestly, since I was a young guy, before I had kids, before I was married. Yeah. Like,
God, I didn't think about balance when I was young. That's interesting. How young?
We like 20. We talked about like the tattoos and stuff recently. Remember I told you like basically one side of mine, I've got like two sides, it's like light and the dark, and the balance, like that all symbolizes balance. And so like when I was young,
what were you worrying about balancing when you were 20?
Because goals, ambitions, work, fun. Like I loved having fun and I loved partying, but I also had to I was always just thinking about the balance. Like I partied with the best of them, but like I always had to maintain that like balance of working hard and accomplishing my goals, getting my degree, whatever it was, It's like I had so many friends who either didn't go to college, which, colleges, we could have a whole conversation about that. But, a lot of friends didn't go, or a lot of them did go. And then they were there for 5-6 years, and, they partied too much or whatever. And like I said, I was always there partying with the best of them, but I just had to maintain this like balance. And I always thought about that. And it's just
very interesting.
It's always a struggle, with whatever. And then obviously later in life, and you have kids and you're working. And especially if you have those like goals and ambitions, which we talked about burnout a lot last week, balance is a huge part of it, whether you're trying to accomplish those goals or trying to, build a YouTube channel or whatever it is in your career. And then, finding time for the family and the marriage, it's all balance.
Yeah, I didn't think about balance when I was 20. Yeah. That's just wild to me. I think I probably didn't start thinking about it until I was pregnant with Macy, because I was worried that I was number one. So moms, if you had this thought pregnant with your second child, you're normal. I used to cry and tell Shane I didn't know how I was going to love another kid as much as I loved Kobe, because I
remember that.
I couldn't fathom it. I know that sounds like so stupid, but if you've had more than one kid, like, please let me know, like comment, like if I'm the only one. But I remember crying, telling him like, I just don't know if I'm going to love this child the same. Like, and it made me upset, it made me feel bad. And of course she was born and I obviously love her the exact same, but I couldn't fathom, having room for that kind of love in my heart for another kid. But I don't think I started really thinking about balance until either I was pregnant with her or until she was born, because.
But then as soon as she was born, all those feelings went away.
Yeah,
right?
I already said that. Yeah. I mean, obviously that was just like, it was just me processing, okay, I'm about to have another kid because I loved Kobe so much. But when she was born, I think that's when I started thinking about balance. And again, it's related to kids, because I wanted, I didn't want Kobe to feel like left out, and, the baby's there, and he, it's kind of normal. And he did have a reaction, to her. Like, you could definitely tell he loved her, like, absolutely. Like, she was his little baby doll until she could say no. And then they started fighting. But he basically drug her everywhere. But I didn't ever want him to feel like I loved her more or whatever. So that is when I started thinking about balance. I'd say I was probably like 23, but I was balancing mom life. And I've always worked too. So balancing work and then still wanting to spend time with my kids and having you. So it wasn't until like
the family unit.
We added another kid to because it's easy with one kid. Like, I hate to say it, but when you have one little kid, I mean, it's fun, it's easy. It can be hard, but You had
I don't
to.
know. There's some moments where it was pretty hard before
It
Macy
is, but
came
I'm
along.
just saying it can be hard, but it's just one. Like there's two of you and there's one of them. And then when you got two, it's one and one. And all y'all that have more than one, God bless you. I remember when we were
More than two, you mean?
more than two, excuse me.
Okay.
God bless you. But I remember when we would take Macy to the ball field, Dan's wife, they had their third, and I was out there with Macy toddling around, and she had the toddler and then the older kid playing baseball with Kobe, and then she had the baby in the car seat. I just remember her pushing the stroller around, and she just looked at me. She's like, if you're thinking of a third, rethink it, and she was, I know she doesn't like regret it and whatever, but she was in the thick of it. She had like a toddler, a baby, and she's at these ball fields for as long as we are. I can't even imagine doing that with a baby, but I remember like, okay, like I listened to her, no regrets.
Well, we did it with a baby, but it was not a
third.
a
Yeah,
third.
but basically when you have the third, you're outnumbered at that point.
I've heard too that once you have three, like you might as well just keep on going, because at that point, it's after three, it's at that point, I guess the kids start helping each other. They just kind of start raising themselves in a sense.
I just wasn't, I know my strengths and weaknesses, and more than two was just not, I literally just couldn't handle it.
Well, so how do you deal with balance once you got to that point and you did start thinking about it, I guess?
I don't know how I dealt with it. I guess I just tried to make a conscious effort to share time and I would take Kobe to do one-on-one stuff, and I think you did too, like to try to just let him, know that he's not forgotten. That was a hard transition for him. He was in kindergarten, I think, when she was born. So that, that's what I did. There's no balance for work. You got to work 40 hours. I had no choice there.
Yeah.
So then I would come home, and it's just hard, when you're the cooker, the cleaner, and all that, and you have the kids, and then I got to keep you happy too. I would say those were some really hard years, like early on, and we weren't even married. I think we kind of got through a lot of the hard. Now I'm thinking about it. I think because we dated so long, we moved in together, and we did everything like ass backwards, which, I'm kind of glad we did. We kind of got through a lot of the really hard marriage stuff, relationship stuff, like pretty early.
Before we were married?
Yeah.
Because we lived together
for
a little while.
That's like first 6 months of us living together. I tell everybody,
that was rough.
Oh my God, it's like the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
It is like, because you learn their habits, you see how you live, oh my God, we fought the worst.
Yeah, we did.
That was the worst. Awful.
Yeah.
And then kids will make you have some of the worst fights you've ever had in your life. So.
Yeah, well, you just kind of get through it. And see, I feel like for men, there's for men, you talking about all the household stuff, which is understandable for, I guess, a lot of women and moms. For men, it's usually work. You're talking about working 40 hours a week. Like, I haven't worked 40 hours a week in as long as I can remember.
It just makes me realize.
It's always been more than that.
Yeah.
And
you're a workaholic, so you have like an issue with that too, because you love it.
Yeah, but let's just be clear. It's not like I worked over 40 hours a week a lot in the past, not because I love it. Maybe now I love what I do, but it wasn't always because I loved it.
Yeah, but I don't remember you working like over 40 hours. I remember one brief period where you were like you were working a normal job. And then you were putting together, you remember you were like putting together gym equipment to like make extra money or whatever. But like you were never absent, at least when we lived in like Heritage Farms. This is kind of the era I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about like now. I guess I'm thinking about like back then. Like when our kids were young, like you were present. Like you weren't getting home late.
No,
you were there
but
for dinner.
I did everything I could to make extra money. You always forget about that. Like I always freelance. So, I might not have been great at it when I was younger, like at that point, but I was doing websites on the side if I could, anything to make more money. Like when we found out we were having Macy, at the time I was a director at a community center over the aquatics area, like the indoor swimming pool and stuff. And we found out we were having our daughter, and I was freaking out, as the man, like you're the provider. And so I started freaking out because I was like, shit, we don't have enough money. I started doing swimming lessons. I did a face painting business for a while.
I remember all that, but I don't remember you being absent.
I'm not saying I was absent. I'm saying like that's the balance that a lot of men like.
I do agree. Men have to,
because I had to like, but that's the balance that a lot of us struggle with because we feel like, and we want to provide, but if you didn't feel like I was absent, then that's good. That means I was doing it well, but it was a struggle. Like I was always trying to work. And then, I remember once we bought this house, even I had a job that I really liked, but you started kind of freaking out at one point about money again, or not again, but like you were kind of stressed. We were stressed about money. I don't know if we were, I don't know if we were fighting, but I don't care for much, but like you were pretty stressed out about money. And so I was, I went out and like the next day, started finding more jobs, and I ended up getting a part-time job. Because I was doing freelance at the time, still video editing and different things, but it wasn't like consistent, I guess, So after that, I still remember that. Like, I just remember, it stressed me out as a, provider or wanting to be a provider or whatever, that you were stressed out about money. And I think it was literally like the next day or two, I got that job as a graphic designer, a part-time graphic designer, where I could work remotely it was a real estate company that has offices all across the state, right? So I ended up doing all their graphic design work for basically all their offices. And I ended up doing that for years as a part-time employee, anywhere from probably 10 to 20 hours a week.
Yeah, that was when we were here.
On top of my day job. That was after we moved here. But again, that was like that balance thing. And then you're also trying to make every kid's practice and help coaching and like all that stuff.
It's a lot. I don't even know. Like, I think with balance, you just have to do the best you can. I just think about like moms, like how my opinions have kind of like shifted, and I don't know if it's age or whatever, but like, I just think about how much, I don't know, just like how much, and again, I know men do a lot too, but I think about the women that work and then have to come home and deal primarily with the kids and like feeding everybody. And I just feel like at this point, like it should be back like it was back in the day. Like, I don't feel like women should be working, and like, I'm like, who vote, like take my vote. I don't care. Like I told you, like, I don't want to be independent anymore, and to a degree, like I don't want to be in like an abusive relationship where like I'm controlled by money and I can't spend. And, there's a lot of shit out there like that that's just toxic. I'm just talking about like traditional values, and the moms being able to truly raise your kids instead of these school systems. And, I think about that a lot now, and, it just is what it is, but hats off to the moms that have careers. You miss out on a lot, and I don't know, it kind of makes me sad. I kind of have like a little bit of regrets about that.
Well, and I think even more so is probably men that miss out on their kids because they work so much.
Yeah.
That's a tale as old as time there. Men get older and then they look back and then they usually that's their one regret is that they, worked so much. And
I think regret is always time.
But it's like a catch-22, you got to do what you got to do. And so like, is balance even possible?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think you can't let balance stress you out. I think you just have to do the best you can. Right. I feel, and I've said this on the podcast before, and maybe it's my age and I'm like getting older, but I'm like extremely overwhelmed by things that I feel like when I was in my 20s, like I know we were busy. We had young kids, we had practices, we had Macy, it was 3 and then tumbling, and God, I just remember we had so much on us. Family wanting to come by because Macy was young, and we were cooking, and you were doing like haunted garage. I just like think about how busy we were, but now I feel like even busier or something. Like I'm just so overwhelmed, just doing the best I can. Like, I'm burnt out. Probably we've talked about that a lot. I think a lot of the pressure is like work, but I'm overwhelmed, and I just balance the best I can. And I've realized that like, if it doesn't go in my calendar, I'm not going to remember to do it. And I'm not going to remember birthdays. I'm not going to remember anything. And I'm, just trying to balance it all, but not putting too much pressure on myself because, it is what it is. But like, I was telling you last night at dinner, I'm so behind on holiday stuff, decorating in general. presents, planning the meals and like appetizers we're going to have and what we're going to eat. Are we going to cater it? Desserts. Like usually I'm like making lists and like, I can't do it. It's sad. It makes me feel bad too, because that's the magic that makes Christmas for the kids.
Yeah.
It's the magic. It's that, but I am like, I'm struggling. Okay. I'm scrambling.
No, I don't think it's a matter of you changing or getting old. I think it's maybe getting old, but I think it's a matter of you just forgetting. You just don't remember how stressed out you were back in the day.
I know how stressed out I was, but I didn't feel, I feel like I can't remember the things I need to do now.
Yeah.
You know, it's back then, even if I was so stressed, I could still remember and keep, like, maybe it's stress making me, I noticed the brain fog, you know.
When you get you some nootropics to start taking.
The brain fog, you know, got really bad, I would say, like, after that wreck. And through a lot of the trauma following, you know, a lot of the stressful events following. And I think it's gotten better, but you know, it's there.
I think there's,
and I've never had that. I've like an elephant. I can remember everything.
I never have been like that. Like I've never really had great recall and stuff like that.
I did.
I think, definitely though, added stress and being overwhelmed will definitely contribute to brain fog. Yeah. And so like finding ways to mitigate that.
Give me those things. You know, I want those nootropics.
Use nootropics or supplements. That's another thing too, you know, talk about like regarding balance, and something I've always, you know, I've thought about since I didn't start till I was probably in my like mid-20s, early to mid-20s, like working out and stuff. But like there's fitness, like there's a lot of stuff, you know, people always say I'm too busy to work out or whatever.
I feel that.
And it is like, so it's like,
you just have to force yourself.
Is balance like truly possible? I don't know. I think you just have to do the best you can. But I will say, like, it's hard to imagine somebody being much busier than I was, you know, especially at one point in my life. And I still made it a point to work out. And it was not always easy. It was definitely not easy. Sometimes I didn't want to, even if it was like, I know there are people that were probably busier than I was at that time. But
there are,
I'm not saying that that's not possible, but I'm saying I was extremely busy. I was driving 45 minutes one way to work. I was doing a part-time job on top of that. I was helping coach kids, going to practices every afternoon, every evening, doing baseball games all weekend. So my weekends were all tied up. So like I literally didn't have much time
rubbing
at all.
my back every night for an hour. I'm just kidding. He didn't do that.
And so I found, and I had to get up really early to take kids to school and then get to work on time, you know, so I didn't have much time in the day. And I was lucky enough at my job, I was able to, what I did for a few years was just leave during my lunch break. Instead of eating during my lunch break, I went to the gym and, you know, crammed in a 45-minute workout, you know, and got back to work on time. And a lot of the guys all the guys I worked with were always going out to eat and stuff. And, you know, I kind of missed out on that, but I was like, this is,
you have to make yourself
to me, you know, and yeah, it's
discipline is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's not I really want to go to the gym. I never want to go. Full transparency. I've taken a long time off. I would say since that wreck, I have not. So 2023, I'd say in the last 2 years, I've been the most inconsistent in the gym ever. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it was from pain. Like I just couldn't, like I couldn't even finish. Like physical therapy was just making my back hurt worse. My back hurts all the time. I don't want to bug y'all with that. I said that. I say it all the time, but I've been so inconsistent. And I think in the last 2 years, I've really like taken a big role in your business.
Yeah.
And so I feel so overwhelmed, like having one more thing to do, or the thought of like forcing myself to get up at 5 a.m. And that's what you have to do. You have to like get uncomfortable. If you don't have time in the day, then you need to get up an hour earlier and make time and quit making excuses. But I was just like in the gym at least 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And I've just been so slack, and I go, but it's like barely my butt cheeks right now. I had Gumby legs yesterday. I almost threw up at the gym. like mouth watering, like to the point where it's coming.
How long had it been since you've been to the gym before that?
A couple weeks. It wasn't that long.
Okay.
But I'm just inconsistent. If I go to the gym, I'll do legs because that's like the biggest muscle, one of the biggest muscles, back and legs. I can't really do back that good because of the pain.
Yeah.
So I'll do legs, but and I told him a new exercise, and I didn't feel like taking the weight off, like hip thrusters, whatever. And then I just did like 2 sets, and I was dying, felt nauseous. And then I like spun the weight around. It was like 45 on each side plus the machine. That's a lot for me, someone that's like not been training every week.
Mm-hmm.
I had Gumby legs. My butt cheeks hurt so bad I could hardly walk up these stairs to film this. My arms hurt. Like I think you slapped me in the arm or poked me in the arm, and I screamed. Like I'm so incredibly sore. But like at some point, like excuses are like assholes. Everybody has one. You just have to like.
I love that feeling though. After like,
I don't love it.
Like not being too sore. Obviously, that's rough when you can barely walk. But like that feeling, because when you go to the gym all the time, like it's kind of hard to get that like sore feeling. But sometimes I'm hurt or whatever, and I'll take a couple of weeks off, and then I go again. And then you get, because you just know that it's working. You know that you're not wasting your time. When the next day when you're sore, you're like, okay, that time that I put in yesterday, it's actually doing something because I can feel it today.
My cheeks were hurting last night, and I know day 3 is going to be awful. I'm not going to be able to walk up or down stairs. But
that's rough.
What I would say is I never really feel like going anymore. It's not like a passion or whatever. But when I do go, like it does so much for my mental state. I had more energy, and I think it's just like getting the frustration or just the stress out. I feel so much better. And I don't ever want to go. I think that's the thing people mistake. They're like, oh, I don't really feel like it. I never feel like it. I never want to, Well,
I heard this one time, somebody said, and it stuck with me. Nobody ever leaves the gym thinking, damn, I wish I didn't go to the gym, or regretting going to the gym.
That was almost me yesterday.
Well,
my mouth was watering.
Maybe there's some exceptions, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you never like. Now, how many times do you go to sleep at night like, damn, I wish I would have went to the gym today? That's happened a lot, but I have never left the gym thinking like, I really wish I didn't do that. You always feel good after you go to the gym. And I think that's like, for me, it's always been a mental thing, the fitness side of it. Like when we were so busy, like I was doing all the, like going back to when I was driving to work and part-time jobs and baseball and like all those things with younger kids. Like I felt like, even with work, everything about my day was basically for somebody else. Like it was to provide, going to work to provide for the family, going to baseball practices for the kid, or spending time with, family or whatever it was like. And that one little sliver that I had during that lunch break where I'd go to the gym, that was like my time. Like it was the only time I was in my head, and it was the only time that was for me. And so like, I've just kind of treated that whole fitness thing as like a non-negotiable. Like it is the one thing that is for me. And that's kind of been the same with like the jiu-jitsu and the MMA stuff that I've been doing, it's the same. Like, especially when I first, like, I'm still very new at it, but when I first started going, like, this sucks, dude. It's so bad.
You
like
were so defeated.
I do not want to go, but then you go, and at the very least you get a really good workout and you learn some stuff. But you always feel better, and it's good mentally for me, so I, finding that balance, it's like I think you just have to force balance. Like you have to force it. And
that might mean setting boundaries too.
It's
if someone's demanding so much of your time,
it's something you have to force it. And that's why I've been thinking about it since I was 20 years old. Like
I was thinking about how I was going to pay the bills, thinking about balance.
Well, you think about when you're a young kid, like it's really easy to say, to hell with this. I'm on my own. I got some freedom. I'm going to, you had a kid then, so it's a little different, but it would have been really easy to just go nuts, party all the time, and, say to hell with school or let your grades slip or whatever. But like, to me, it was like,
I was just never a big partier like that.
You just gotta, you partied a little, but you also had a kid, at that time.
I drank. I didn't party on your level.
Well, yeah, probably not too
I'm
many.
a little too scared.
Not too many do, maybe, but
I don't F around.
It was even back then, it was like, I had a force. I remember, everybody be hanging out, getting high and stuff. And, I'd leave my apartment, everybody's hanging out partying, and I'm like, I gotta go to class, I'll partake and have a good time with everybody when I get back. But I just made myself, so it's like forcing a balance, you know?
It's crazy.
And like to this day, you know, we talked about burnout and stuff last week a lot. You have to just like, it's just something you have to consciously think about, because no matter what you got going on in life, whether it's kids or work or partying or all the things, like life will just take
Swallow
over.
you.
It'll take over. And so unless you're consciously making the effort to like have the balance, spend the time with family, go outside, get away from the computer, whatever it is, it'll just take over. So you just have to do it. It's discipline. Like you said earlier, it's discipline. And I think I realize how so many people do lack discipline.
Yeah.
And I think that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You know, I've been asked before, and I've heard, you always hear this question, right? Especially for like, well, I think for anybody, but especially you hear it a lot for like the fitness side of things, or like fitness influencers or professionals, and also creatives who are like, you know, people say like, how do you stay motivated? Right? Like, how do you find motivation? And it's great to feel motivated, like, but I think that's the wrong question. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah,
you
not
don't always
yeah.
have motivation. No. The question is like, how do you show up when you're not motivated? You know, how do you still put out that video when maybe you're not motivated? How do you still get to the gym when you're not motivated? Like,
you just do
when
it.
I'm motivated,
it's discipline.
It's fantastic. You know, it's like I get up and I'm ready to go to the gym. I'm motivated. You know, those are the easy days. But like some days you're not motivated, and you still have to do it.
I'd say most.
Know? So I think that's the bigger question, is like find a way. That's the discipline. It's like finding discipline, showing up, doing what you're supposed to do, even when you're not motivated. And then, you know, try to find the things just that make you happy in life, you know. And it's tough, you know, when you're busy. Finances, that's another thing. I wrote that down on the list. Like, that's another balance thing. Like, we've talked about that a lot when we were younger. Like, do you save all your money?
Yeah.
Or do you just enjoy it because you only live once? You know, I see both sides of that.
I do too.
You know, that's something that
I do too. I think you need to save enough money to like for emergencies. I think we've always tried to do that. I mean, even when we didn't have a lot of money, but we also did like take our kids on vacation probably when we charge it and pay it off, because we didn't want to like not take our kids on vacation, like not have those memories for them. And so, you know, we might would have, you know, we had the room paid for, but we had to put the food and the everything else on a credit card, and we would pay it off. And I think, you know, was that the right decision? I don't recommend like credit cards unless you're going to pay them off now. For like young people, don't get in that nightmare. It's a nightmare. The interests are like 25 and 30%. And that's how every month they charge you that, like not, you know, anyway, criminal. But I don't recommend that. But
well, when we were younger, we would typically, with younger kids, we would typically go on one kind of big vacation a year, and then we would pay it off throughout the year.
That's what we did.
And then the next one, you know, we kind of rinse and repeat until we had. But we always also contributed to like retirement as much as we could, and we tried to increase. So I feel like we have always kind of had a pretty good balance when it comes to finances.
And we like had an emergency fund, and it was like a few $1,000s, you know. Yeah. But we always had that, like our tax money. I remember when we would get tax money, we would just kind of like save it and act like we didn't get it, or maybe pay a bill off. But for the most part, that would just sit all year so that if something happened. But I do remember like we had credit card debt, you know, and it was from either, I don't know if we had something break, or like I remember my car blew up, and there was like all this things that happened. It was
mostly, I think most of it came from when you had to quit your job because you had Macy, and that's when I was kind of stressing out and trying to like work as much as possible.
Yeah, but I saved when I was pregnant with Macy, because I made a lot of money, you know, when I was young. I was thinking about that. I was young, making a lot of money with no college degree, but I saved for about 6 months of car payments, because I knew you couldn't afford my car payment. Like, we did like the budget, and I'm like, okay. So I remember like saving for that. I don't think it was then. I think it was after that.
We did rack up a little bit of credit card debt, I think, then.
Yeah, but we had it here in this house too. You know, when we moved in here, and I don't know. I think maybe we had like some things break that we had to put on the card, or whatever.
maybe.
And it just, it just
But yeah,
spirals from there.
that's just balance too. I think we always have kind of been in the camp of like you only live once. Like we want to enjoy also what we're working for. So we did try to do that without going crazy, obviously too, and still trying to plan for the future. So that's kind of a tough one, but definitely
I think
something to think about. But we also didn't spend a lot, like especially when we were younger.
We
Like
didn't have it.
we were spending our debt, racking up debt maybe on that one vacation a year, but we weren't getting new cars. We weren't like, we did not spend outside of our means. And I think that's a problem that a lot of the younger people and maybe even older
it's
people
like
have
DoorDash now, fast food. Like you won't catch me paying triple for DoorDash. I will starve. I will eat a cheese stick and a beef stick and whatever. I mean, I will eat a boiled egg before I pay $45 between the tip, the delivery fee, and the other fees that DoorDash or Uber Eats adds on. Now, every now and then you can get a coupon and they'll be like BOGO and I'll do it for the kids. But I mean, these people are like literally not leaving the house to go pick up their food and paying, $30, $40 more than what the meal is. The meal might be $15 and you're paying $45 after you tip and pay all the, ain't no way.
Yeah.
So living within your means, I would say. And I think the answer is you need to do a little bit of both. You need to save for the future so that when you're old, you can take care of yourself, and you need to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
Your pappy, what he always said, like, stuck with me. Like, I think.
Shout out to Pappy.
Yeah, maybe he told you, but he told us too, because he'd give the kids money and he would say it to the kids all the time.
Every time.
Put 10% back.
Save 10% of everything you make.
And
my
I think
parents
that's
always
good
said
advice.
that too. Yeah,
I think that's really good advice, and I'm trying to instill that, like in Kobe, and he really actually is pretty good. For the most part, but you and I were never materialistic.
Right.
And that's hard for people that are.
Yeah, especially young people. And I for some reason never was, but I think, that's a challenge. And it is like the credit card companies, all this stuff. It is criminal, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You're young, you're in college half the time, and you're racking up insane amounts of debt anyways. And then you're getting all these, credit card applications in the mail. It is just criminal. But
it is.
I was raised to, if I didn't have it in my bank account, I'm not getting it.
Well, that's why I tell the kids. Spending it, that's why I tell them, I didn't
even have a credit card till we moved in together.
Yeah, why you had to get a credit card? Because your computer broke.
I needed a new computer. Yeah. That's right, for like to do work and
see, I had one, but it was through my job, and it had like a $200 limit, and I
credit card.
Yeah, and I got it because I got some kind of like cash back, but I wanted to build my credit.
Yeah,
and it had a low limit, and I just put gas on it and would pay it off. I never had an issue with credit cards when I was young, and I don't think I ever really have had an issue, or you either, with credit cards. I think we've had emergencies come up, and we would put that vacation, and then with the interest, it's like, what the hell, and so truly YouTube and the freelance work you were doing is what helped us get rid of all that.
Pay off,
because I remember we had to roll over like 10 grand. Remember when my car, when someone hit me in the flood?
Yeah.
And then the insurance company like refused to pay the 10 grand I owed. I was upside down, but it was definitely from the wreck because it pulled my, anyway, it was a whole story. So that was like a thing. And so it was like a lot of unexpected stuff, but like, you talk about I was stressed out about money. It wasn't because we didn't make enough money to pay the bills. It's because we had the debt hanging over our heads from, whatever catastrophe, big, large chunk we had to put on a car, plus whatever vacation we had financed that year.
Student loans.
Oh, yeah. We had student loan bills. And so for me, it was all the debt. That was like, we could pay our bills and live comfortably. We were okay. We didn't have a lot of extra, which is why I would bitch at him about buying stuff for the smart home. I'm like, dude, like you don't need to do that. Because I was just throwing chunks of money onto the credit card, trying to get it down. And we did eventually. But the advice I give the kids is, like, when in Macy, I try to talk to her about money, but she probably needs a little more talking to. But like Kobe is like, if you put something on this card, you need to pay it off immediately. And he wants it because, he's young and he wants to have good credit and to be able to like get a house or whatever. And so, I'm helping him with it.
Yeah, it's really kind of messed up too, because like you have to have credit in order to get things.
Yep.
And then you can't get credit, build your credit score unless you have credit cards. Like that's the whole reason why I got my first credit card was because we were getting to the point, I think, where we wanted to buy a house, eventually,
Yeah.
or maybe a car or something like
Mhm.
that. And you have to, you have to have a credit card. It's just all kind of crazy.
Like to rent a place, to rent an apartment, they run your credit. And it's like, these kids are
they used to do
18.
that
I
when
think
we were
I
young?
think they've always done it.
I
And
don't
that's how
remember.
they determine like how much deposit. And you gotta think like these kids are young; they don't have any credit.
I don't know that they used to do that because I
Yeah,
had a number of apartments that
Your mom's name was probably on it. Your mom had to co-sign for you to get that Best Buy credit card.
to get the credit card because I didn't have any credit. But before that,
And maybe
I had
student housing's different.
well, I never lived on campus.
No, you lived off, but you were still in like the college apartments with 4 people in an apartment.
For 1 year, my freshman year, and it still wasn't even on campus. It was not
Yeah,
associated with the
yeah.
school, but every other place was not associated with school at all.
I
don't
feel like
remember
they've
them running
always.
my
I feel
credit.
like they've always done that because I feel like they ran my credit when I moved into places when I was young. I feel like
I
it's
thought they
something-
just require like to see proof of employment and stuff like that. Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, I think they run your credit to see if you've ever like, if you've got some kind of judgment against you or whatever. But, anyway, so, I'm helping like, Kobe do it responsibly because I don't want him to end up, in credit card debt and stuff like that. And, I think he applied for a credit card and, he has no credit. So, he didn't like get approved because I want to help him get like the best one that's going to give him benefits. I'm always like, all right, what do you want? Do you want miles to fly? Or do you want hotel points? Or do you want cash back? Like which one? And I helped him and we applied and he didn't get it. And so, I've got him added onto my card and he's got his own card and I can like control the limit, and then he can sign in. He has his own login. He goes in and pays his own things. And I think I'm actually about to do it for Macy and add a card for her. Just to help her so that when she does turn 18 that she has credit. And my cousin Stephanie actually had told me that she did that for all the boys. And it's
smart.
genius. It's very smart to do it while you have control and they're young.
Yeah, that's true.
To like even put bills in their name. Like if you guys have teenagers and they're going to college soon or they're planning to move out, put a bill in their name. They're living in your house. Put a bill in their name so that
and they build credit
yeah,
that way?
yes. Well, not just credit, but like, so when they go to get the power in their name, they don't have to pay a $500 deposit or something like that because they've had a bill. Things like I never thought of.
we
I actually
didn't do
think our
that
therapist was talking to us about it. Remember?
Oh,
I
really?
miss her.
Yeah.
I really do miss her.
Well, we got a couple. We have some questions, and let's get to this one question. It's kind of a multi-part question, but some of this ties into balance, so I thought we could address this one.
Okay.
From Nathan, left a long message with a couple questions here, so I'll read through this. Nathan says, "Hey guys, love the show. With all the craziness going on and people losing their minds nowadays, it's nice to see normal people talking about what's important, like God, family, smelly vaginas, and of course, smart home tech."
I just want to know why smelly vaginas are important, Nathan.
Well, I think that's
Clean them up, ladies.
yeah, that was a couple episodes ago that came up, but that's funny. I think he's yeah. And then he says, "Shane, when your daughter had her boy friends over for Halloween, did you just sit there with your gun cleaning and just giving the stink eye?" I did not actually that night.
He's such a softie. Like he talks such a big game, and he would stand on business if he was pissed off or they did something wrong. Like he would stand on business and be scary AF. But Shane is so nice. He talks this huge game, and I think Macy, like she said like she wants him to scare him a little bit. Like she wants it. She likes it. And you're just so nice when they come. You just remind me so much of you turn into your dad. You remind me so much of your dad.
But you don't know what it's like being a boy either. So like when there was one in particular, but I made sure to shook his hand, look him in his eye, and I, said some things to him, but they're so young at this point still. And like, but there's a time where it's probably going to shift a little bit more and I might be cleaning some equipment.
We'll let y'all know.
But no, and I actually just had a conversation with Macy. It was like, No, I didn't have a conversation, but I thought I might have to get a little bit more aggressive with some of these boys. But they're still so young. Like
They're scared.
Yeah, it's I don't know, not yet.
They're scared with the girls, so they're petrified of us. But
Yeah.
they are like still in that. The boys especially, boys take longer to mature, their confidence and everything. These are like freshman boys. They are like so awkward and cringy around the girls, much less us. But by the way, she wants that whole crew to come over here for a Christmas party.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that later, I guess, off air.
Are you gonna be cleaning guns at the party?
I don't know.
Singing
If
Santa songs.
Well, I thought that maybe there was a reason that I was gonna have to get a little more intense, but turns out I don't think I'm gonna have to. But yeah, I'll give everybody a chance, but we'll see when they get older again.
Confidence grows.
I don't know. Yeah.
the cocky dude.
I know what it's like to be a young guy, and so I don't know. It's probably going to get a little worse once the boys that are coming over start getting older.
Y'all see the stress? He's like doing he's doing his temples, the stress coming over him.
It says, all right, Nathan says, all kidding aside though, was wondering if Shane, if you would do a video on your 3D printer and what to look for and how to get started. I'm interested in getting one and have no idea where to start. I might do some more content about 3D printing in the future. I'm really interested in this. It's just been fun for me. I will just go ahead and say, like, I'm still new to it, but Bamboo Labs printers are like, from what I understood and understand, they're like the easiest to get started with, and that has been my experience. So I would check out the Bamboo Labs printer. The A1 Mini is the one I got, just really small, very affordable. It's a really good entry level one, and it's just super easy to use, I would say. So maybe that helps. But yeah, look, maybe I'll do some more content on the main channel in the future with that.
That's all he does.
That's not all I do.
Not all you do, but he is like 3D printing machine.
Yeah, lately.
Like, you have been geeking out, making all kinds of, I need a bigger one. I need one that can do multiple colors at one time. And
I have one that can do multiple colors at one time.
Oh, well, what is it that you need?
I'd like one that can do multiple nozzles at one time.
What's the difference?
Change out the nozzles.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I get it.
Faster and less waste and stuff like that. Anyways, the question that kind of revolves around balance was, I was also wondering, health and fitness is important to me. I go to the gym at least 4 times a week and I try to eat as healthy as possible. That's pretty good right there. He says, I've been trying to encourage my wife to go to the gym. She feels uncomfortable about her body sometimes, even though she has no reason to be. How can I encourage her to go to the gym so she feels more confident about herself and feels good about her body? If you guys are ever in the great white north, let me know. Would love to show you around. I appreciate the feedback there and the questions, Nathan. So that's maybe a good question for you. I know you've actually told me fairly recently that you still kind of feel uncomfortable going to the gym that we go at now.
It's just the gym, though. It's not like because I'm uncomfortable in my body. I'll say the comment about her being uncomfortable in her body when she shouldn't be, that's just a woman thing. It's a inner voice we have in our head. It is there from the time we were little. It does not go away. It is something we have to consciously fight, I'd say on a daily basis, a very loud voice we have to ignore. Social media has probably made that worse. You see, perfect airbrush, all these girls using like filters, like not just on their face, like on their body, or they're like making themselves look smaller, or they're not. Maybe they really just have a perfect body, but there's just, you see it. It's mostly not. It's like in your face. It's not on TV commercials or movies or magazines now. It's like
everywhere. It's
everywhere. And so I think like she's going to struggle with that. I don't think it would matter if she was in the gym 5 days a week. There was a time when, I would say after Macy was born that I didn't go to the gym at all. I mean, I was young. I was 23. I did not go to the gym when I was young. It's not something I did, period. I don't know when I started going to the gym. I think it was when I guess.
It was a couple years after Macy was born.
I grew up in the gym because my dad and stepmom owned a gym, and they were both bodybuilders and personal trainers. So like, I was in the gym all the time. I did not want to be in a gym. I did not work out probably until mid to late 20s. Probably after our wedding, I started working out.
Yeah.
not like super serious or anything, but there was a period of time where he went and I didn't. And that was back when we were still eating whatever we wanted, like burgers and fries.
Well, I know I got kind of on my fitness journey before you did. I started mine a couple years before you did,
Yeah,
and
well, that's what I was trying to say.
well, I'm saying I had started eating pretty healthy, and even like maybe I wasn't like eating super clean because I didn't really know that
You
much
weren't.
about
You
it.
were not eating
but
clean
I
at
was,
Heritage Farms.
but I was counting calories and stuff. I
Yeah.
was like, I knew how many calories I was eating for a little while. I was doing insanity.
I
all
did that with
crazy
you
stuff.
for 31 days. I walked
Insanity,
out.
yeah,
I
but-
did insanity with him, y'all, at like 5 a.m. That is the hardest stuff I've ever done in my life. We started month 2, day 1. I think I walked out and there was like 10 minutes left on the
Quit.
video. I quit. I was
Yeah.
done. It was so awful.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. But that was just a fitness program. But I remember I had already done 1 or 2 rounds of insanity on my own before you tried it with me. And I got like super lean,
Skinny.
probably way
God,
too
you were
lean
skinny.
because it was just insane amounts of cardio. And that was before I started lifting weights or knew anything about that. But yeah, I was kind of like watching what I ate and trying to eat like the right amount of calories and stuff. But I would say, as a way to kind of help maybe get her into it, I mean, I think one thing that we tried, like obviously you can't force it. Like I kind of wanted her to get into it back then, and
Yeah,
then
men have to be very
Yeah.
careful how they approach this.
Eventually, you just kind of wanted to. You for whatever reason, you got to the point where you wanted to. But I would say if her hesitation is from, not feeling comfortable in a gym, I totally get that. First of all, like the gym can be intimidating, especially if you don't really go a lot or you have never been. And you probably know this, Nathan, but like everybody in the gym usually is super cool, but that, that doesn't help, I guess. And I would say one thing you might could do is just try doing workouts at home, or maybe take her to the gym with you and do workouts with her. Maybe
That's a good
that would
idea.
help. Like we did
In 2020, we were the fittest
Yeah.
we've ever been. That's all we did was work out in our garage.
when COVID came, I was going to say we worked out together pretty much almost every day, like at least probably 3, 4, 5 times a week. And I kind of built like a, little it was nothing expensive. I
No.
just had like adjustable dumbbells in
And
the
a bench.
garage and a bench. But we did workouts pretty much every day together in the gym, in the garage, So we did it at home, and maybe that's something that you could do is, you might have to change your workouts a little bit, to accommodate her, but maybe that will kind of just help her get more comfortable working out. Just something to suggest, or even if you're, going on walks or runs or whatever together, stuff like that, maybe, it's probably something I would.
Yeah, I would
think
invite
about.
her to go with you, but you can't make her, and you can't tell her,
No.
well, you're fat.
Well,
I'm not saying you think that, but
well,
I just want him to tread lightly because you don't want to, I don't want him to end up in an argument.
Well,
but I would just invite her.
Hopefully it sounds like maybe she wants to go, but she doesn't feel comfortable, whether it's she's not comfortable in the gym or she's not comfortable with her own body. So if that's the case, then maybe finding some other things like working out at home or doing some other things or working out with her, maybe that'll help. But hopefully she wants to go already. That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I definitely, and I, for me, was so uncomfortable. This is like pretty vulnerable. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm still debating it, actually. But for me, fuck it, was just being uncomfortable in my own skin, in my own body, constantly thinking about it. It was like all I could think about. I mean, it was like, it's a horrible voice, right? But when I knew it was like time, like where I was like, F this, is like when we would be intimate, I would cut the lights off. I didn't want you to see me.
Damn.
Do you remember this? Like we had conversations about, you're like, why I can't see nothing. And I'm like, no, we're cutting the lights off. And that's when I was like, the hell with this. Like, that is not like how our relationship was. It's like not how it should be. And I don't ever think like, I was never like huge, but I was uncomfortable to the point where I didn't want you to see me naked, And so that's when I was like, okay, like You gotta do something. And your body's change, you know, your metabolism when you're young is just like going, you can eat whatever you want, you can half-ass do things, but sometimes the weight, it just slaps on you and you're like, whoa, like, how did this happen? And I feel like you and I were even more conscious in what we ate younger than most people. Like we weren't like horrible, but we weren't great. Especially women.
It's been like the last few years though, there's been I think a big, I don't know if it's like an awakening or what you want to call it or trend, but it's like more and more people, like there's more young people in the gym, it seems like, than like I ever remember. Like young people now have more of a focus on health and fitness, which is awesome to see.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just a lot more people are in tune with I think people know what they need to do. And there's a lot more people that are doing it than maybe it used to be. You know,
so
it's just more cool now to kind of like live a healthy lifestyle. You know, I feel like when I was younger, it was just more cool to like drink whiskey and smoke cigarettes.
I think with like social media and, you know, these companies just can't hide anymore and the stuff they were putting in the food. And, you know, I think it's just, they're just exposed and there's no going back. So I think that has a lot to do with it. So Nathan, I would say invite her, but don't like, you know, make her feel bad if she says no. I think she's just going to have to get there on her own, but, you know, invite her, you know, make it like a date and y'all can like go have a drink or, you know, go eat a salad or, you know, go eat at your favorite restaurant, her favorite restaurant after
the gym.
But again, you can't like browbeat her because at the end of the day,
don't do that.
At the end of the day, like she's only going to go if she wants to. And there was nothing he could say to me. And I remember like a few times getting offended, like before I got to the point where I wanted to cut the lights off. I remember you kept asking me, I'm like, do you think I'm fat or something? Like we already have such a negative voice. So like when our man is like saying things like that, you know, I wasn't there yet. I just had to get there. Yeah. I wasn't ready to start going to the gym all the time, you know?
And it's probably, I probably wasn't like thinking you were fat. I probably just was like,
you wanted me to be healthy.
Well, it became so important to me. And like, you know, that's, you want to share that. Like, I want you to be able to, you know.
Well, and the feelings you were getting after, right? We talk about the mental health stuff because, you know, mental health is huge and you just probably wanted that for me. But in my head, I'm like, this motherfucker.
He just called me fat.
You just called me fat, you know? And so just Nathan, be careful with that. She's got to get there on her own. And I think you're leading by example. And that probably had a lot to do with, you know, why I went. But I know it was just like something we could do together, you know? And, you know, like a part of it is like you were getting so fit. I couldn't be the fat one. Or like, you know, like I'm not kidding. At a certain point, I have to stand next to you. And in no way are you going to look like, okay, you can look better than me. But in no way am I going to be standing next to you and I want people to think, ooh, why is he with her?
That's funny you say that.
That is why that and me cutting the lights off, like that was my breaking point because I can't be, you got an 8-pack and I'm over here like muffin top. Like, no, like that's not going to work for me because I've always been skinny. I've always been tiny. You know, I've had abs. You know, but then you have babies and you get older and your hormones. And like we were talking about, you're just so busy and I'm the mom and I'm working, sports. It was a lot to do, but I wasn't going to be the ugly one standing next to you.
It's funny you say that because that was always kind of like one of the things in the back of my head. And you know, it's kind of stereotypical that like big, not that I'm big or anything, but like, you know, big, huge gym rats are like, what do you call it? Like, insecure and stuff like that. That's kind of like, you know, sometimes people say that or whatever. And maybe there's something to that, but like, I remember always having those thoughts too, like, gosh, you know, she's hot. Like I can't be walking around with her and everybody be like, why is she with him? You know? So that was, that was like a motivation for me too. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. I was like watching you get abs and stuff.
So you want to get better for each other. So
yeah. Like, I don't want you to like, well, you know, you got to think about it. Like we talk about balance and stuff and, you know, like I really believe you should serve your spouse. Like that's in the Bible. Like you are supposed to serve your spouse before your kids, before your own needs. That is like, you are required to do that. And that's hard to do. You know, men are selfish and some women can be very selfish, but you know, like I didn't want him to stray. You know, I see so many people and it's not just like people I know, like, but so many men stray and women stray because the other person like lets themselves go, and that's not fair. You know, like all these You see it a lot, like with divorce and stuff, and it should be this way, but because, you know, you want to get fit and you probably need to go to the gym to get a good cry. But I feel like a lot of people wait until like something bad happens or whatever to start going to the gym and taking care of themselves when, you know, if they would have just done that, you know, not saying it could have helped every time.
Not to say that's why people stray, but
that isn't why, but
no.
I didn't want you to, you know?
Yeah. You do see that all the time, though, where people get divorced, and then the next thing you know, somebody's, you know, one of them or both of them are in the gym all the time, and then they look better than they have in 20 years.
Yeah, and again, like, that's not knocking it. Like, there's not to say that going to the gym would have saved your marriage. There's some, like, slimy-ass men and women out there. It doesn't matter how good you look, that they just want some strange. I mean, that's just the fact. I just didn't want you to, like, not look at me and not think I was hot, you know?
Yeah, well, that was never the case.
No damn beer belly standing next to your abs. Couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But that, again, the vulnerable part for me is, you know, when intimacy was a factor, I wanted the lights off, you know, and I probably really didn't want to be that way because I was so embarrassed. I remember shutting the bathroom door, like I didn't want you to come in, like if I'd just got out of the shower or something. You know?
And I'm
not like you.
And I'm like, lights on.
Yeah, well, you didn't care. Yeah, you were like, yeehaw. And I'm like, you ain't getting on this cow. You know,
funny.
You didn't care. At all, and it
was your own voices.
Because again, I wasn't like, I mean, I was bigger. When I got to the pregnancy weight, I think I was 5 pounds shy of what I weighed when I delivered Macy. I was like, moo. You're getting her in the gym. I mean, that was it for me. I was like, I weighed this much 9 months pregnant.
Yeah, well, that might be a motivating factor, I guess.
Well, I know why you didn't care, because my ass was probably like a dump truck. It was probably like a semi coming down the hallway.
I'll take it.
Ooh, can't.
Well, yeah, and then, you know, that just all kind of ties back to balance, you know, making it a priority. With everything else going on.
But can I add really quick? I want to just add, another thing you can do is to clean up the kitchen. You know, just like about 90-10, 80-20, 80% of it you know, for women and especially, you know, men can kind of like eat whatever they want and work out.
Not true.
Well, it's way easier for men to lose weight than women. I will say that.
Yes.
So I would say, you know, clean up the kitchen too. Like I would just add that in there. It's not just the gym. Like that's not going to be, especially for a woman, that is not going to solve all of her problems. So I would say to just try to eat as clean as you can too. You know, the carbs and stuff, our carbs specifically in America, our flour is full of other things. You know, it's not the same as in Italy. That's why everybody you see in Italy, you know, they eat pasta. That's their thing. And they're not huge just because of all the additives and stuff. So trying to clean up that too. Yep.
That's true. That's a priority. And again, just, you know, it's hard to balance all that stuff. That's hard, you know, because it's expensive to eat that way. But, you know, just to finish on the balance, I would say.
Truly, life is just a shit show, and you just have to do the best you can, really, to keep all the balls in the air. And sometimes they're going to fall.
And I want to say, too, like, just stay, you got to stay true to yourself. Like, I was watching this. You know, I know we're running late here, but I just want to say this. So I was watching this video from, it was a YouTuber who does, I won't mention any names, but he does like historically a really big like Apple tech channel. He was talking a lot about, you know, basically kind of getting burnt out and being forced to do these kinds of videos that he'd been doing forever and whatever. And it's kind of,
he was talking about being boxed in
and not having any, you know, passion about it and all that stuff. And like, that's all kind of balance related and burnout related. And I just, you know, and he's kind of like, and he was mentioning other names and kind of like quote unquote not really exposing people, but like just talking about tech influencers and, you know, how it all works and all this stuff. And I just, you know, it was kind of annoying in a way. Like,
well, he was like blaming brand deals.
You saw some of it.
He was blaming brand deals in a way.
But to me, it was like, you know, the problem is you kind of sold out like a long time ago. Like that was on you is kind of what I was thinking, you know, and we talked a lot about this last week, but again, that whole like the balance thing, just stay true to yourself. Like there's a reason why my channel's name is Shane Watley and not Smart Home Tech or whatever.
Smart home tech nerd.
If, I do the videos that I want to do, and that may change one day, but I'm never going to like be, forced to do stuff that I don't want to do.
Well, for money, you didn't chase the money. That's the big thing.
You don't chase the money. And it's like, again, just staying true to yourself. I don't know, that was just like fresh on my mind. And it just made me think a lot about like the burnout. And I think there probably are a lot of creators that kind of get stuck in a box and they kind of do that to themselves. I mean, I guess you could say I could get to that point one day if I don't like doing smart home stuff. A lot of people probably watch me for smart home stuff. But if that day comes, guess what? I'm sorry, I might piss some people off, but I'm going to stop doing smart home videos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know this is an example. I know that I could do videos on Apple rumors, for example, and just my channel would probably blow up because so many people watch that stuff, but I don't want to do that. Like, I hate those types of videos. Yeah. I could do a video about every single Apple video or product that comes out, but I don't, because I don't want to do those videos.
Yeah.
So like while we're trying to make videos that the audience wants to see, I also have to do stuff that's like true to myself and stuff that I want to do so that I don't end up like that guy. And I don't want to, quote unquote, sell out or whatever, just for like the paycheck or just for the views. I think a lot of that is just for the views.
Yeah.
Like people have asked me, like, why don't you just do general Apple videos? Like, get outside of the smart home. You could do all shortcuts or all this or that with Apple. And it's like, it's just because it's not what I want to do, So like, balance, man, find balance.
Yeah. And it just goes to the fact that we've talked about it multiple times on this, but I was watching like Candace Owens yesterday. Love her, hate her. She's honest. She tells the truth. Her podcast is the #1 in the world because it's authentic. She's authentic. People crave authenticity. Theo Vaughn is like #2. Who else was on there? It was Theo, Sean Ryan.
Oh, yeah,
he's
like
up there. Joe Rogan. I mean, again,
so people are just being real. I mean,
I think there was like Call Her Daddy was on there. I mean, there was others, but what I'm saying is just be real and authentic. People are craving that. That's what we were trying to encourage people that maybe want to start a YouTube channel. It doesn't have to. People are done with the production. They're done with Hollywood.
I also mentioned it last week too in that episode. If I'm making stuff, and I think that's what happened to this guy too. Like, he ended up making all these videos because he was like the Apple guy. And he wasn't excited about it anymore. And so like, if I was making a bunch of and I mentioned it last week, if I'm getting bored or if I feel stagnant, which has happened, I'll do something different. I'll make some videos that I wouldn't normally make. And like, that's what you have to do.
I didn't watch a lot of it, but it sounds like, he got uninterested in the things he was making videos about. And then to me, I'm like, well, why didn't you change it up? Like, why didn't you change and start making videos about what you wanted to make videos about?
Because people get so tied to the views and their audience expects a certain thing. And like, I understand that, but like, and also like they get stuck in these, like he mentioned, like the PR bubbles and you lose like access and all this stuff. But like, that's chasing money or
PR bubble. I don't even ever thought about that.
Because, if you're doing news and it's another reason why I never want to do news. Like, if I'm
that makes sense.
If you're getting early access to stuff and all this, but like, I say at the end of the day, like, screw all that stuff.
Yeah. So he was almost in like the politics of the tech world. If he's doing PR and all that, he was in that. That's nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think was going to happen there? But see, he's come to the light though. He's realized it.
Yeah.
I mean, but you did that too.
But he's kind of talking bad.
But he probably didn't know.
But like, you did that to yourself.
I know,
brother.
but think like he probably didn't know until he was in it.
Just got wrapped
especially
up in
if you
it.
Were like, PR is nasty.
Yeah, but if you just stay true to yourself, again, my channel is called Shane Watley, and that's what I'll be making. There will be me in the video. That is the only thing that is 100% certain. But I love smart home tech, and I'm doing the stuff that I love. Yeah, maybe you sometimes. But, finding that balance, is just so important, man, and not getting burnt out and just staying true to yourself and finding happiness. Like, that's all it's always been about for me is finding the balance to you got to take care of business, do what you got to do, but you also got to find a way to sleep at night and to be happy. And that's what it all boils down to, I think. Especially as a man, you got to get shit done, but you can't be miserable. You got to find happiness. You agree?
Yeah.
Why are you smirking?
Because I know what it takes to make you happy.
You do?
Yeah.
What's that?
Food.
That's not what I was thinking.
Well, that's a given. That, food. What else?
So a good woman.
Yeah.
A good
Yeah.
woman.
And guys, you just find a good one, man. And if you have a good one, date them. Don't forget about them. I see that happen so much. I'm sorry, I'm like going off. We can talk about marriage next week.
All right. Well, it's been a long podcast.
Love your
Thank you-
person.
Thank you guys for sticking with us. Hope you enjoyed today's episode, all about balance mostly. We'll see you guys next week. If you want to leave a question, you can send us one over on the website. There's a link in the show notes. Or you could DM us on Instagram or wherever, and we'll save it for a future episode. We'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.